Welcome to the Team Powerhouse Show. It is Tuesday night. We want to thank you so much for joining us. This is a pre-recorded show because I am on the way back from Vegas. An amazing time being spent with my
You're in
wife.
two places at once.
In two
You're
places.
here
I'm here.
on a Tuesday,
This is facts.
and you're in an airplane coming back from Vegas.
Coming back from Vegas, I will be looking forward to seeing you live the following week. But more importantly, it's a great show for you. Something that Eric and I want to talk to you about, hoping that you're having an amazing experience in this real estate market. So it is a pre-recorded show, knowing that I'm on a flight, literally, on the way back from Vegas. It is Danny's 21st birthday, so happy birthday to Daniel. You'll probably see me a little bit more full of color in the next show, and I might be a little more, what's the word you used to say, overweight.
Like your poster making
A little,
way over
a
there.
little fuller, I have no idea. But that being said, looking forward to a good time. But a good time with you tonight on this show. It's Tuesday night. I believe today would be the 16th of July. And let's talk about it, Eric.
Talk about 16th of July.
Let's talk about today being the 16th of July. Doing a show talking about what they need to know.
What do they need to know? Well, we're talking about offers, right?
We are talking. You're a
Buyers.
buyer looking to make an offer on a house. You're in this market to buy a home, right? Hopefully, you're emotionally, mentally, and financially ready to make this happen. First question for you is, how are you learning about the current market at hand? Are you watching what's happening on the news? Are you on social media learning about what the real estate market is doing? Or are you actually learning this information from your real estate professional that's giving you real data, real facts about what's happening? Because if you talk to your parents, if you talk to other people, they may be somewhere lost as to what's going on in this market here.
That's a topic in and of itself.
Yes.
You know, where are they getting their information from? How many times have we been working with folks and they've got co-workers who are telling them stuff that they bought their house 6 years ago and they didn't have to
Yes.
go through all of this,
Yes.
and they're like, you're like, okay, that was 6 years ago.
And
It was
they're
like a different world.
Different world.
Yes.
And not to mention, if mom and dad's involved, and we love when moms and dads involved, but maybe the problem is that mom and dad bought a house 30 or 40 years ago, and what they went through, their experience was much different. Back in the day, and I say back in the day, homes in the market 6 months, 9 months, even a year before they went under contract. You know, an asking price was a starting point to negotiate down from. You would have, I'll give you an example, my own parents, when we were going to sell their house, and I sat down with my mom and dad and said, listen, you need to price your house here. And my father said to me, I'm going to price it here and let them work their way up, or I'll work my way down from there. And I was like, that's not how we do things anymore. So it's important to make sure that the current condition, the market, what's happening around us, is that you're very educated on the moment to moment. Because things are moving very quickly, rapidly changing in a very hot, demanding market for properties because of the lack of inventory. You know, have you been approved? Right? Who are you using for a mortgage broker? Is it a local lender?
Also proof of funds.
Proof of funds?
If you
Absolutely.
cash. Yep.
Are you a cash buyer? If you are a cash buyer, do you have the proof of funds to show that actual ability to go and buy a house?
Right.
Is the
Yeah,
money?
a picture of your mattress where you have all your cash is not a proof of funds.
Yes.
It's not
I
a proof
like
of
that.
funds.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
Hey, I got the money.
Yeah, picture my mattress. In that mattress, I have $150,000, so we're good.
We're good. Absolutely. Just bring the suitcase boop, right to the closing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not going to work today, unfortunately. Where is the money? Is it in your bank account? Is it something where the money's overseas? That could create a challenge for you if you're getting cash from overseas, because it's still going to get sent through, whether it's being brought over or wired or something, where you've got to have a paper trail of the money coming in order to make that purchase.
Well, you definitely want to get that done well before the closing date.
Right. Absolutely,
Because
yes.
you have government entities that will be looking at that money coming in from overseas, and it will need to sit for a period of time while it's looked at.
Seasoning.
Well, that's a different situation, but yes.
Yeah. So we need to make sure your funds, if you're going to buy cash, are literally in your bank account. Are they in a 401k? In a Roth? Are they something you need to liquidate? Because there's only so much money you can always take out from your 401k. There's a percentage usually you can take out. You need to find out, what is the percentage I can take out to buy a house? Can I buy that house for cash? Or is it a percentage of the money I'm using in order to get a mortgage? If you're getting a mortgage, who is the lender? Is this a lender that is well known in the industry, locally or nationally? That can make a big difference. Are you going to a bank versus a lender? Are you able to get a hold of that lender by phone, by cell phone? Because we as listing agents, when we get an offer in, and it might be a weekend at 9 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night, I've done this before, I call up the mortgage broker. Do they answer the phone? Are they aware that you made an offer on a house with an updated pre-approval letter specifically for that property? Or when you call them, do they go, what property did they make an offer on? That can be a problem. You know, is that property that you're buying match up with the purchase price and the taxes for the amount of money you're pre-approved for? There are many things you need to make sure you're pre-approved and being prepared for in making an offer on a house. And that lender should know exactly what you're doing moment to moment. They should be in touch with your realtor, in touch with you, and then most importantly in touch with us as listing agents. They should be calling to advocate for you about what a great buyer you are, how great your credit is, how well that you're qualified, how fast they can close you, to give the peace of mind to the listing agent that you can make this deal happen. It's very important for us, right? Peace of mind.
Thane agrees, he's nodding yes.
He knows, he's listening to it all the time. So when you're qualified to buy for a house and getting pre-approved, what documents have you given to your lender, right? There's a number of documents they have to receive. Some of the documents include
W-2s, pay stubs, tax returns, yep.
absolutely
1099 if you're an independent contractor.
And that's a great point you make, the 1099, because a 1099 buyer may be a specific type of mortgage you're using, right? And the mortgage companies you work with, and a number of them have this, each one is, they call it something different. Some call it a green light ready, which means that you can close in 2 weeks, or power bid. These are things that, again, you want to find out, being how approved you are. Have they gone through the underwriting process for you as a buyer, making you that strong of a buyer? That doesn't mean that the seller necessarily wants to close that quickly, but you have the ability to give that seller and the listing agent peace of mind in order to close.
Well, didn't you say you had a deal recently, or I could be kind of garbling, where you had somebody who got commitment like a day or two after getting under contract?
You're exactly right. And when the lender called me up, I was in shock. When they called up the listing agent, they were in shock. And they just added validity to A, number one, me as the agent for the buyer, B, the buyer themselves, and C, the lender, making the listing agent feel that much more excited and confident in the fact that they chose the right people.
Yeah, because understand, when we write a contract, we're putting the commitment date at a certain stage of the process.
Yes.
And let's say it's a 30-day or 35-day close, you're putting the commitment date maybe at day 28, 25, whatever.
Yeah, usually about a week before roughly.
And then 2 days after you get it under contract, to be able to tell the listing agent that you have commitment.
They actually had the appraisal order that day the offer was accepted. The appraiser was out for the next day, got back to the lender that same day, giving them an appraisal back on that property. I was blown away by it. It's super impressive. So it's really important to know who you're working with and the kind of people that are in your, I'll call it arsenal, your people you're going to combat with to help promote and protect you. And as Eric mentioned before, are you a 1099? I'm going to sneeze, oh my gosh. Are you a 1099 buyer or a W-2 buyer? Making sure all your documents are in. Oh wow.
If he sneezes, we're in for it, because it's like 6 or 7 rapid fire sneezes.
I'm gonna try to hold back on it, oh my gosh. Are you getting gift money, right? Very common today, moms and dads are giving gift money. They're actually pulling equity out of their home because they have so much equity in their houses to help you buy a house, making you that strong of a buyer to buy that house. The more money you put down in a house makes a seller feel that much more confident in taking your offer because you're that much stronger of a buyer. It's not necessarily true. It doesn't mean that someone who's putting less money down isn't a good buyer. It's just in the eyes of the selling agent and the seller, how cash positive you are as a buyer.
It shows a level of commitment, level of ability,
Right.
okay? It makes the seller more comfortable because you have, let's say, two offers, and two offers in this world is kind of an impossibility, but let's say you have two offers, you have somebody who's a $10,000 deposit and somebody who's a $500 deposit.
Right.
Well, guess what, that $500 deposit person, okay, if there's and that may be the highest offer or whatever, you know, but that person could walk away from that $500. They could totally say, you know what, a house opened up around the corner,
Right.
on a quieter street or on
Right.
a cul-de-sac, whatever, and yeah, they're gonna walk away from that $500.
It's very important to show your strength, your commitment, and your power based on your financial condition, position on making an offer. In addition to that, when it comes to that offer being accepted, being in touch with your lender, if you're getting a mortgage, being in touch with your agent, your lender being in touch with your agent, and the process that goes through this whole process is important for you to be not only comfortable through the process, because as a buyer, you're on a roller coaster, right? I mean, this is a roller coaster experience when it comes to this kind of stuff. How long is the property on the market? May also depend on what kind of offer you make. And if you're working with a very strong, educated realtor like Erik Vasquez, right? There may be some conversations he's having with the listing agent to see where the availability is of negotiations. If a property's in the market for a week or 10 days, in this market, that's not a long period of time. As a matter of fact, most properties, depending on if it's a holiday week like we have had over the 4th of July, where people are away and that kind of stuff, so that kind of plays a role too. So that might be a piece of, but outside the box of a holiday week, you know, within a week today, most homes, if they present themselves in such a way that looks so great, are going to be under contract. You want to get out to those houses as quickly as possible. How often are buyers, a property comes to the market, they say, oh, I saw a house I like, but they can't get there for like, you know, the whole week because of their work schedule. You know, that plays a role into their ability of maybe getting that home under contract. That seller may accept an offer without even letting people know. Boom, they got an offer, and that's it.
Oh, we let them know in advance.
Right?
If something goes live on a Monday and they say, well, I can't see it until Saturday,
Right.
then, okay, be prepared that come Saturday, this house may not be available.
Exactly.
It may be under contract by then.
And we as realtors are going to try and reach out for you to let them know about your position, but they may very well take an offer. It could be day one, day two, they get an offer they can't refuse because it's that good. So it's important for you as a buyer to be prepared, mind and body, and you need to be ready to go and look at a house. And we're lucky now that it's summertime because it's light out much later. And it being light out much later gives you the opportunity to go after work and see those properties. Make sure, so the lights flickered as I said you like. Make sure you're out there looking. And definitely try to make sure while you're at the house looking, it might be the last time you get to see this house while you're in it.
Because you may have to waive inspection as one of your conditions to look better than some of the other offers.
That's exactly right. This might be the last time you see that house until you close on it. You may be making an offer with no inspections. It's very common today. You know, and it's something that you need to be not only educated in that property. Again, I'm going to use Erik Vasquez, a great real estate agent. When it comes to walking through a house and looking at different facets of the house, the positives, negatives, and what it's about, you may need to waive an inspection. You also may need to put on what they call an appraisal gap on the house. What's an appraisal gap?
An appraisal gap is you're guaranteeing the seller money above the appraisal value. So if arbitrary numbers here, offers $300,000, but you tell them you're going to give them $5,000 above whatever the appraisal comes in at. If the appraisal comes in at $3, they're getting $305.
What's the asking price on that property?
Let's say $275.
$275 ask price.
You offer $300. Let's say you offer $300,000, and there's a chance that the appraisal comes in below $300,000. Well, they don't want to risk, you know, taking a $310,000 offer if they don't have an appraisal gap. But if they have an offer at $300,000 and that person's giving them $10,000 above the appraisal, they got some insurance in there.
It gives the seller the confidence that if the home appraises, let's say for 290 versus 300, you're gonna make them whole and they're gonna get $300,000. You also have to make sure you have the financial ability to do that. Again, very commonly, parents are helping out their kids, and when I say kids, I mean kids at 25 and 35 are kids. It's not that kids are 18 years old. Moms and dads have the equity in their homes to give the ability to give them some money to help them to cover that spread.
But check with your lender, because there are some programs that you
Yes.
will not be able to make up that difference. You are not allowed to put any money above the price.
And also, in addition to that, you need to make sure that if mom and dad are helping you out, you need to make sure you get a specific way it's being done with a gift letter. And they've got to see a paper trail of that money coming through. I apologize, my phone is going bananas over here. Very busy market, crazy things are happening. So
Well, tell them what happens if they don't do it in the form of a gift letter.
if you don't do it in the form of a gift letter, you may just kill the deal because money just ended up in your account with no explanation, which may be illegal in the sense of the mortgage industry. In addition to that, if mom, depending what kind of mortgage you're getting and what kind of gifts they're giving you, they may need to see mom and dad's full account and bank statement. Sometimes mom and dads, they don't want to disclose how much money is in the bank. I mean, it doesn't have to include the buyers in that process, but 100% that lender and the parents have to have that communication with a proof of funds.
Yeah, the other side of it is, if the lender sees a sizable amount of money coming into the account, it could look like another loan.
Right.
In which case, it would affect your debt to income ratio.
Right.
So, and that's where the rubber meets the road in your purchasing power.
You need that proof, that gift letter that's given by mom and dad, written out in a very specific way. The lender will help you out with that to make sure that you as a buyer have everything in your package done correctly. So we talked about how you're learning about the market. Have you been approved, and how approved are you? Green light or power bid. We talked just now about getting qualified and what your lender has for documents, including gift funds. And if you're a cash buyer, where that money is, and can you provide proof of it?
Well, have that, you want to have that before you go start seeing any homes.
Absolutely correct, Eric. You definitely want to make sure that all that.
You want that round in the chamber, ready to fire when you need it.
Absolutely.
You don't want to have to be scrambling for a day or two or three after seeing the house, and then you've missed the boat on that house.
Your lender, like you just said, Eric, needs to have all these documents before you're looking at a house, and the agent who's working for you should 100% make sure that your lender has those documents correctly, because the day you go out, I can almost positively tell you, you're going to be making an offer on a house that you want and see and like, and you need to be equipped and ready so that Eric can go out there and write that offer for you confidently, so we can get your house under contract for you, and you don't lose that house. We talked about how long the property's in the market may also make a difference as to the kind of offers you're making. You know, a home that's been in the market for 30 days or plus longer, why is that? Is the property price too high? Are there certain things about that house or elements? It also could be the fact that the house doesn't show well on camera and people didn't want to go look at it because poor photos were taken. But then you go in with Eric to look at a house and it's completely different than you expected to see on the computer or on the camera. On the
Happened. It's happened.
I believe that.
Absolutely happened.
That's why we also tell people, don't judge a home specifically and only based on what you see on camera from photos. Sometimes home looks amazing on camera, and then you get there and you're very disappointed. And sometimes just the opposite happens. That's why it's so important to see as many homes as you can while you're out shopping.
And if you're shopping in an area that you're not familiar with, let's say you live in New Haven and you're shopping in Glastonbury and you don't know the area very well, I always recommend do a Google Street View if you can.
That's a great idea.
Go up and down the road, go around the corner. You want to see what is around there. I mean, looking from the top, you really can't see it all that well.
That's a very good point.
You'll see double yellow lines, single yellow lines, the whole nine.
And also get to know the area from what would you do when you're at home living there? Do you go out at night, restaurants, shopping? Get to know that community a little bit when you're looking at these different towns. As a matter of fact, you make a good point. In addition to that, you made me think of something else over the years. Today, when you say, I would like to buy a house in, let's say, this town, that town may only have a couple homes for sale, so you really wanna look at towns and homes around that area. You know, even how far you wanna drive to work or from work. Everybody says, I wanna be like 15, 20 minutes to work from my house. That may not be possible today. They might need at least 30 or 45 minutes because of the amount of homes for sale. And the more you kind of isolate areas based on making it so tight for yourself, it also may be more expensive in that area to buy that house. So you may be able to get a home a little less expensive in the outside towns or communities or areas, if you will, that you hadn't looked at before. Very possible. Keep your options open. Your relationship in this business makes a big difference on who's making an offer.
Relationship with?
The agents upon agents. When you're in the business a long time, you do a lot of business. The listing agent may very well know who your agent is, and it could make a difference on your offer and relationship in that business. Because they know that they bring top-end buyers, A-quality buyers. When an agent has a reputation of bringing great buyers to the table and making offers, that agent's offer is typically much more, how should I say? Welcomed, I'll say. As opposed to an agent that is unfamiliar to the area or the industry, if you will.
Well, also an agent that's going to have a seamless process, you know, where it's like, you know, you do a deal with another agent and it went great on both ends, you know?
Absolutely.
So believe me, they remember that. Because the next time you have an offer come in and they're like, I remember this dude and I want to work with him again because it was so easy.
You just showed me an email from another agent who you made an offer for, and in the email it talks about how seamless, how great the experience is, how professional. Everything was exactly the way the other agent needed to feel and see it, which was a compliment to you again and again and again. Those are things that you need to make sure and know about. You really wouldn't know as a buyer. You know, you don't know these things, but it's important to kind of get a little feeler out for the agent you're working with. Ask the agent the questions you want to know, because they should be able to answer them for you without kind of, you know, I don't know, or maybe, or a good question, without having an answer to say that is, you know, a real and actual from experience. Experience matters. Are you prepared with what kind of offer you need to make? We talked about this a little before, waiving home inspections and appraisal gap. There are so many things happening in this industry that you need to emotionally, mentally, and financially prepare yourself in making an offer in a house. It's our job as realtors to help you to be successful and for you to have a great experience in this whole real estate purchase. There's so much emotion, there's so much stress, there's so much involved in a buyer and a seller's experience in buying and selling homes. When we sell properties, it's important, as Erik knows and our team does, to make our sellers feel confident with what their experience is going to be, just like your agent who's selling your house, for them to be confident in the offers coming in.
Just like as a buyer agent, you're letting them know you may have to come in this high, you may have to waive inspection, you may have to do this, you may have to do that. On the seller side, it's the same thing. This is what you should expect to happen.
Absolutely. The seller's agents are already asking questions. Is your buyer willing to do this? Is your buyer willing to do that? Do you have all documents in? And it's all about being prepared. You being prepared makes us prepared. Us being prepared makes our offer and the experience for you to have amazing. Not very hard, but yet very important.
Very important.
And if it's not done correctly or not done, it makes things much more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have a chance to even make an offer because you're not prepared and you lose out in that house. Losing is not fun. You know, some people like to say, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be with God, right? And I say this.
Well, there's something to that.
There's something to
that.
If you put every bit of your job up front, making the best offer possible, then it's in the hands of the gods, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not being well prepared and making every effort to give yourself the best opportunity, at that point, it's not up to the man upstairs. That kind of falls on us as buyers, as agents, and everything else. So we need to make sure that you have the best ability to buy. so you can have the most amazing experience. It is the summer of 2024. Things are going to get a lot hotter, physically and literally.
But it's only July.
And it's only July. You're right, it's only July. We don't know what the next few months are going to be, but we do know that the market is not getting any better. There's not many more homes coming to market. As a matter of fact, we've seen a little bit of uptick in homes for sale, but that many more homes are selling, and they don't last. So our job to make you better prepared, knowledgeable, in working with us, our team, or your realtor, so that you can have an amazing experience in this real estate process. We want to thank you so much for being part of the show today.
And I want to thank you for not sneezing.
Yes, I was
And
able
who
to
do we
do
have
that.
next week, by the way?
That's going to be a surprise guest.
Is it? I thought it was Jen Crowley.
It might be Jen Crowley.
I just looked it up.
Did
on
you
the
look it up?
calendar.
Right.
Yes.
So next week we have Jennifer Crowley from Anywhere Insurance.
Anywhere.
She's a wonderful woman, very knowledgeable on insurance. Thank you for looking it up. She's very knowledgeable. She's been on the show before. We've actually asked her to come more often because there's so much about insurance that we need you to know about insurance, and that's part of the whole process of buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we didn't talk about here is, have you got insurance prepared for the buying the house to know what kind of payments involved in that? But we'll get more in touch with you on that kind of stuff there when Jennifer's here. It was great to be with you again, Tuesday. We hope you had an amazing time watching this experience, this show, and it was an experience.
Yep, actually.
Hopefully it was hopefully you learned a lot in this show over here. Thane is going to go to the magic wheel and let us know who the next winner is. And remember, what's that?
The wheel's magic.
It's a magic wheel. The magic wheel.
I'm gonna say Instagram, because I was wrong last week. An hour ago.
Mary Enriquez.
Mary Enriquez,
Off
congratulations.
Instagram.
I know Mary very well. She's a wonderful, she's a past client. Congratulations, Mary. So excited for you with this tumbler. Can't wait to get in touch with you. Thank you all for being a part of the show. And again, if you want to win a tumbler, please let us know. Reach out to us through social media. We'll put you on the wheel and you'll be the next winner. Thank you so much, everybody.